Okay. Hi, everybody. Y'all, so I haven't been live on any real social media platform in a while. I've been working on myself, and yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Now let's get to the title. And hello, Miss y'all too. Let's get to this title. Something I've been very passionate about for years, since 2012 when the shit went down. I've never believed that Whitney Houston was, I mean, yes, she did drugs and alcohol, and not she partied. That was Whitney. But the fact that they claim that she drowned and it was from a drug induced situation that made her drown made absolutely no sense to me. I watch a lot of documentaries about a lot of substance abuse and shit like that. And what I have noticed is that long term drug users don't just die from overdoses. They may overdose, come back, and etc. beyond, but for the most part, they got their habit under control. They know how much to use, when to use, and etc. The only time when they overdose and die is if they just came out of rehab because whatchamacallit, their tolerance is low. So, from my understanding, Whitney ain't been in no rehab for years. She had no intentions on stop doing drugs. She was good in her addiction, understood her addiction, and I guess was fine with it. Now, the fact that they claim she drowned, it was the temperature of the water for me. I forgot. Oh man, unprofessional as hell. Whatever. There was another YouTuber. She did a three-part documentary about the whole thing. Nick Gordon. It started off with Nick Gordon. Earlier this year on New Year's, Nick Gordon had overdosed and died. Now, that overdose could have been self-inflicted, of course, because he was doing drugs with Whitney, her daughter, and etc. And etc. would be some celebrities, Ray J. Moving right along. Um, so yeah, from that death, it kind of made those all three of those deaths, Whitney's, Bobby Christina's, and his, all have a reason because somebody got to get her money. And who her money is, Whitney Houston money. Because when Whitney died, all of it went to Bobby Christina. When Bobby Christina died, all of it went to, I believe, Pat Houston. Pat Houston's husband, who is Whitney Houston's brother. I forgot his name. If it escaped me. What is his name? Nick? Rick? Hold on. Who is Pat Houston's husband?
The husband of Pat Houston is Gary Garland.
There you go. Gary is. So Gary got the money, Gary mama got the money, and Pat Houston got the money once Whitney and her daughter are dead. And how ironic, they both died the same fucking way. The water that Whitney Houston was found in was over 90 something degrees hot, and she wasn't found immediately. The water wasn't tested immediately. That water was sitting there for hours, and they still my tongue is brown from the coffee, so forget that. What was I saying? That water was sitting there for hours by the time it got tested. So when it got tested, it was super fucking hot. So when she allegedly drowned in the shit, it must have been super fucking hot. And who fucking drowns in boiling hot, scorching water? She had bruises on the motherfucking body that indicated that she was like fighting. Wasn't self-inflicted. She was like fighting and shit. And then there was a burn, a scourging hot burn on her leg, as if the body was already placed there dead, and then they turned the water on and that burnt her skin off her leg. It's just so fucking much. And I hope and I pray that some detective, some investigator from LA or wherever, I think it would have to be LA because she died, yeah, in LA, Hollywood. It was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. So that got to be Hollywood, LA, whatever. They need to get on this case. It is a case. This was the motive was money, because those deaths had to occur for the other family members to get them out. I don't believe her mama had anything to do with it. Allegedly, she was on the phone with her mama 30 minutes before she died, and she didn't sound drunk. She didn't sound disoriented. She sounded fine. And then she just ended up dead in the tub, a scorching hot water tub. Now the water temperature for baby girl, Bobby Christina water, I don't remember how the temperature of that water, but they basically botched that death because it took her forever to die. She died at the hospital months later from her attack. Let's call it that. Allegedly, her attack. Hi to my one viewer. Hello. How are you? Welcome. Um, but yeah, I like I said, I've been passionate about this for years. I'm a huge believer that Whitney Houston was murdered. I've always believed that she was fucking murdered. Her daughter was murdered, and then Nick Gordon most likely was the one to do. Okay, this is my theory. This is what I believe. I believe that Nick Gordon murdered Whitney. Then he tried to murder, which eventually did, murder Bobby Christina, and then took his own life. Or Pat Houston, Gary, and them put her to it, put him to it to kill Whitney, put him to it to kill Bobby, and then left him alone with them drugs to do it to himself, kill himself. It's a lot. And then the Ray J thing. He was there. He was there when Whitney died. And I would love to hear his interview. Like, someone needs to like interview him, because I have not heard him describe what he saw and what had happened. And why hasn't anyone interviewed him? I know why, because it wasn't declared a murder. So you don't have to be interviewed and all that shit when it's just a crackhead dead. That's what they basically just stamped on her. Crackhead died from crack. And that wasn't it. She wasn't, yes, she did drugs. Good expensive drugs. First off, she didn't do crack. Crack is whack. Remember? She said that. She did cocaine. She had cocaine in her system, a little Xanax, little, not major enough to have her completely fall out in a tub, in a hot boiling tub, and then for the only piece of her body to, like, okay, let's say she did run that hot ass water and got in the tub. Wouldn't more her body be scorched because only her leg was scorched? That was by the damn, whatchamacallit, the faucet. You know what I'm saying? And how you get all these bruises everywhere from falling in the tub? Like, you just like fighting the tub while you fell. It's y'all. She was murdered. Bobby Christina was murdered, and it was all for the money. And what's fucked up, it's not even that much money. It's clearly not that much money, because allegedly they're still doing virtual shows. It's not even called a virtual show. A hyro, a high. Let me see. What is it called? Hyro. Whitney Houston performances after death. Hold on. Hologram. There you go. A hologram. They are doing Whitney Houston performances, hologram, and that's, just to get some more money out of her, because Whitney Houston was not a songwriter. There aren't much royalties and song credits that Whitney has or had. She was just a performer. She was a singer and a performer, and once the voice was gone and there was no one wanted to see her perform with her voice being gone, she was worth more dead than alive. Just like Michael, just like Prince. And then Pope Prince. I believe Michael was an accidental suicide. Yeah, dude in jail. The jury claimed he murdered him, but I don't believe he did. I believe he gave Michael just enough of that stuff to put his ass to sleep. Michael thought he needed a little bit more to stay asleep, so while he was going out, Michael gave himself some more, and boom, he ended up dead. And then, Pope Prince, he had all that pain, and he fucked around with them opiates, and with that fentanyl. You got to be careful. But those are my thoughts. I will try to do more of these, more recent. I'll try to come back live because this is more easier for me to just go live than to.
Hey, baby.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself, baby?
Good.
You got it?
Got it.
I don't want no pussy juice.
Coochie juice.
I said, what's keeping him young? He said, eating that pussy juice.
Oh.
I'm like, damn, Freddie, you getting old, younger and younger. How come we can't look like you?
Well, we are not eating coochie, so.
Nah, But I'm saying he was back in the day,
He looked at older.
way back when who was working at the village? You don't know nobody at the village. It was at least 5, 6 bosses.
Mm.
He was working before me,
Mm.
and I already been there 30 years.
Right.
So he said picking up them heavy boxes and eating coochie juice. I'm like, nah, I can't do the coochie juice. And I sure ain't picking up no boxes. Because you carrying my stuff to the bus, to the car.
Okay, y'all. I gotta go. Thanks for tuning in. That was my mom.
Oh, you let them tell me I said the coochie juice. Oops.
She is fine. See you guys later. I'll come back for another live on my random, unpopular opinion, controversial conversations. Love you. Bye. I don't know how to get out.
I wouldn't have never got on there.
No, I've been